When any type of media does well and the fans demand a sequel, the pressure of putting out something to the same caliber while still making improvements that don't undermine what they set out to achieve is staggering. But when the foundation is so solid that the only way to mess it up is to go completely backwards, there's not much wrong you can do. With that out of the way, I bring you my review for Bayonetta 2, a game that in my opinion took what they learned in the first title and cranked everything up to 11. Buckle up, kids, we're going on an adventure. Bayonetta 2 opens up 2 days before Christmas and months after the events of the previous game. John, Bayonetta, and now family man Enzo are shopping and enjoying a normal day out. Everything seems fine and dandy until fighter jets start flying towards buildings and all-out chaos ensues. There's bullets flying everywhere, angels getting cut to shreds on a jet flying through the city, and even 2 whole boss fights in the first mission. But after defeating the first boss, you perform your climax like you would in any normal situation. But something goes awry, and the demon you summon turns on you and attacks Jean, stealing her soul from her body.
John! This isn't how things end!
This turns into the final boss in the first act that really sets up the amount of sheer craziness you're in store for.
I'm not one for pets who don't listen to their masters.
After killing the summon, you head over to Rodan, still running his bar, the Gates of Hell. He tells you that if you want to save Jean's soul, you'll have to find the real Gates of Hell and drag her out of there yourself. But it won't be easy, as no one knows the exact location of the gates. So with help from Enzo, you fly to Fimbulventur, a mountain believed to be the starting point to finding the gates. So off you go on a race against time to save your friend and get involved in a scheme of time travel and split personalities that'll have you wondering what is real and where the hell am I going? Right from the moment the game boots up, everything just looks so damn stylish. They really take advantage of the Switch hardware here. Bayonetta 2 originally released on the Wii U back in 2014, and even then this game still ran well. And now, being put on a Switch, you have the ability to run at this stable 60 frames per second that really enhances the experience. And I never saw the frame rate drop even in some scenes where explosions and monsters are everywhere. The locales and backdrops are perfect examples of this. And even in the first mission where you fight your first boss, there's stuff flying everywhere. Buildings are crumbling, explosions, there's lightning strikes from the sky. And even in some of the slower sections, when you go to the first city, just running along the water and looking at the skyline is breathtaking. Or even when you're in the prologue and fighting through endless cannon fodder, the amount of carnage and stuff flying around in the background is astounding, and even for someone not playing the game, it's a sight to behold. But combat is where this game really shines. The amount of new combos they added in really spices things up, as you'll be fighting more enemies on screen than what was possible in Bayonetta 1. The other major difference is now during combat you can also stagger enemies and get off a punishing combo on them. So for example, as you start attacking an enemy, eventually they'll go into a staggered state where they're just kind of sitting there with stars above their head in a dazed-like motion. And if you do this on a boss, you'll get a punish prompt, which will do a little cutscene of you smashing down for a kind of like mini climax. And doing so will inflict massive damage, encouraging you to get those combos and attack those weak spots over and over. Much like in Bayonetta 1, you'll have the ability to also swap between sets on the fly, giving you the opportunity to try out 4 different weapon combo potentials, chaining together some of the grossest combos I have seen, and with some of the different styles of weapons, instead of it all being close or a melee, now you have far-reaching weapons, much like the Rose Whip and even a bow. Combine this with the weapons that the enemies drop throughout the levels, and now you have an entire array of violence at your disposal. And just like in Bayonetta 1, at the end of each mission you'll be given a score for what encounters you did, how well you performed the combos, and how much damage you took. However, this game is much harder to get some of the nicer ratings towards the end. To give you an idea, to get a pure platinum medal, you have to go unscathed with high combos and complete it in under a certain amount of time. However, if you get touched at all in some of those instances, the highest you can get is gold. Getting that elusive platinum medal is so hard in this one. But also, to improve your chances of getting a higher score, some of these encounters are put out of the way, so you'll have to go adventuring to find them. And some of them are in places you wouldn't normally think. For example, in the first mission of the game, there's an encounter that's at the bottom of a riverbed. That riverbed is underneath a bridge that you walk over for a split second, and if you're not looking around, you'll run straight past it. The fight isn't super hard, but it can net you an upgrade for your character, whether it be health or magic, so it's encouraged to look around. And as you look around, you'll also come into contact with portals that take you to special combat instances. You'll either be given a time limit, a set of enemies to take out, or you'll be given special parameters like don't touch the ground. And if you complete the challenge, then you get an upgrade for your character in the form of a witch heart piece or a moon pearl. Getting 2 of each of these will add a bit onto Bayonetta's health or another blip onto her magic gauge, allowing her to live longer or store magic for higher combos. Another new addition to the game is Climax Mode. When activated, it'll increase the amount of damage you do while giving the screen a stylish pink tint and really emphasizing the damage that you're putting out. When you finish off a combo, you'll get a mini climax sort of finisher. You'll summon a giant demon into the battlefield that'll do massive damage. Whether throwing enemies completely out of the arena or cutting them straight in half most of the time, it's a very easy way to clear lots of the trash or deal heavy damage to a boss fight. Enemies in this game are very similar to how they were in the first one. You'll still have your melee types with the winged drones, and you'll still have your projectile ones like the smaller flying heads, but you do have some new ones to join the fight. You'll have a new flying enemy with swords attached to it, allowing you to dodge and get into some of those quicker fights, a giant sword master in the form of a new mini-boss, and even a golem-like creation hell-bent on smashing you into the ground. And when you do eventually venture into hell, it's an entirely new ballgame. Enemies now have a black and red color palette but still fill the role of flyers and melee, but the bosses are really where this area shines. Just in the first 2 missions when you make it to hell, you fight 2 bosses in one level and a multi-phase fight in the next level, all while being jaw-dropping and incredibly engaging. But as you move through each level, it's encouraged that you stray from the beaten path, not only to see if there's any puzzles or chests that you can activate, but also to see if there's any hidden upgrades. One of the upgrades you can purchase turns Bayonetta into a bird while doing a double dodge in the air. Not only does this give you a different style of attack for during combat instances, but you can also use it to maintain air as you jump from high altitudes, reaching normally unreachable spaces, or it allows you to fly higher into the air to reach certain ledges. This is a later upgrade, so you'll have to go about halfway through the game before it becomes available to you. But when you inevitably go back to try to unlock some of the things you previously missed, this is hands down one of the upgrades that you need to get ASAP to make your life a lot easier. Also, certain chests will appear ethereal at first, but upon investigation will reveal that you have to get a certain amount of pieces to unlock the puzzle and bring the chest into the realm. So exploring the area before activating one of these chests gives you an idea of what you can do as far as planning a route as you're timed and not given much room in the way of error. But exploration also gives you the opportunity to find those hidden encounters for higher performance rankings at the end of the level, and also those instances of combat prowess to obtain upgrades along the way, because this game is going to require that you have certain skills or just a lot of life and consumables in some of the later stages. So taking the time to find those upgrades will help you exponentially in the long run. This is the part where I would point out any flaws with the game, but believe it or not, besides some questionable jumping on my part, I didn't have any. Combat was tight and refined, and I had a blast replaying through this game. Platinum Games and Team Little Angels can honestly do no wrong with this franchise. They show a huge understanding of fun, and they take time to make sure that the product is finished and complete. Hands down my favorite publisher and my favorite franchise. If you own a Switch, this is hands down one of the best titles you can own. And if you haven't played the first one, I've even seen a digital upscaled version of Bayonetta 1 bundled with Bayonetta 2 in a physical copy. And that wraps it up. That'll do it for me this week. If you have any suggestions as to what you'd like to see next, make sure to leave a comment down below. I read and respond to all of them. Until then, I'll see you next time.